Hi and welcome. This is Lisa Rangel with Chameleon Resumes, the premier executive resume writing company, and thank you so much for joining me today. So, today we're going to talk about 2023 predictions and my opinion of them. And the inspiration for this video came from sometime last week. I had gotten an email from, I think it was Charles Schwab, where the subject line was something like, 2023 predictions, what you should be doing and something of that nature. And honestly, my visceral gut reaction upon reading it was, who cares? Like total eye roll. And it was that reaction, for a few reasons. I certainly am not being glib about the challenges that people are having, will be having next year as a result of whatever transpires, have had in 2022. That's not the reason for that, that instinctive response. The reason I had that response is because, and I've had this feeling about predictions for the last few years, is because in my opinion, we all have a 50% chance of being right and we all have a 50% chance of being wrong. Those of us that get it right, and I say us because in my past life, I have tried to do this prediction game, and sometimes I was right and thought I was brilliant, and sometimes I was wrong, and would probably hide the fact that I was wrong, right? At least that's what most people do. Nobody's advertising that they were wrong. So but over the years, I've stopped writing, executive resume writing trends for the, next few years, next upcoming year, and predictions for the next upcoming year. I've kind of stopped writing a lot of those types of articles this last quarter of the year because, I find that they're kind of misleading. And they don't really tell people the truth, right? Or they lead people down a path, where in some cases I might be even abusing my place, of being as someone who I don't want to say, my position of authority, but, I know people listen and follow, and however small that audience is or large that audience is, I need to take responsibility with that. And what I've come to learn over the last few years, that instead of doing predictions or what I think would actually be better, and what I've come to learn to be better, is to have a process, right? To have a plan. Because then if things go up, things go down, things go east, things go west, things go south, or they get better. What is consistent is having a plan. Because if you have a plan, you can put it to use when things are better. You can put it to use when it needs to be enacted because things kind of went not as planned. And I think having a process, having a plan is so much better than having a prediction, right? And that's what I'd rather do. I would much rather people have tools that they can put to use. And you can't stop a hurricane from coming and you can't stop the sun from coming out. But it's always really great to have a toolbox to help, if the hurricane messes up things about where you live, or if the sun's a little too bright and you need some shade, right? So the key is to have tools. The key is to be prepared. And it's not as sexy or as clickbaity as, the predictions I may have for next year, or some other career coach or job landing expert or resume writer may have next year. They're going to definitely probably get more clicks than I will. But I can tell you that having a plan is going to keep you steady. You're not going to ride the emotional wave that comes from economic situations fluctuating. And I think that maybe I'm just getting older and I'm tired of riding the wave, but I would much rather be stable regardless of what's going on around me. And so I prefer to have a plan, and that's my mantra, right? It's about being prepared. That's my why. And that's why I do what I do every day and why my team and I do what we do every day. We just want people to be ready, and we want to try to minimize. We know we'll never eliminate, but we want to minimize that feeling, that distraughtness that we hear on the phone when somebody wasn't prepared and it didn't go their way. Now, don't get me wrong. There is absolutely no way we can prepare for every possible situation. Before my, diagnosable anxiety has subsided a little bit over the years. Prior to that event of having some stability, mental stability in my life, I used to try to prepare for everything. I would envision possible scenarios, not just plan B and C, but I had plan, double Y and triple Z going on. So that's unhealthy too, right? You don't need that extreme either, because you got to leave some room in life for spontaneity and the unexpected. I think that's kind of where the fun lies, right? But I do think somewhere in the middle of over preparedness and not prepared at all is really the sweet spot. That's the happy place. And so being prepared, having process in place that you can always put to use to, land conversations, talk to people, find out what's going on in the marketplace, find out where the pockets of opportunity are, find out where the pockets of, challenges are, where you can go be the solution, and just keeping your finger on that pulse. It doesn't have to be something you do all the time, but when you do it semi-consistently at the minimum, it's something you can always put to use if need to, right? If somebody approaches you, you can put things to use because you're prepared. So I just really believe, the answers to a lot of the problems a lot of us have is simply in being prepared. And it's by no means a magic elixir. It's certainly not going to take care of everything. And it's absolutely not going to take care of some of the systemic problems that we have, with our world. But in your little world, in my little world, I can have a plan that I can put to use. And that's really the key, right? And part of that plan, is having your marketing collateral ready to go at a moment's notice. So this way, if you have to fire it off because you've been laid off, or you have to fire it off because a recruiter called you with an amazing opportunity, or your buddy said, hey, I just moved over to this company, you need to check this place out, give me your resume, and the myriad of other situations you might need to document right away. You want to have it ready and have it ready on the fly. Have your resume ready for that scenario, have your LinkedIn profile ready so you can be more discoverable. And use LinkedIn, use the internet, use your contact list on your phone to just keep in touch with people, see how they are, see how you can support them. And in turn, you will have a network bank, so to speak, in which to withdraw from. That's essentially the plan of being prepared. And I may have oversimplified it a bit, but that is really the root of it. There's different levels of complexity and readiness that can happen. You can do it in a DIY way, or you can do it by, say DIY twice, 3 times, 4 times in a row. Hey, it's a tongue twister. Or, you can hire us or somebody like us to help you along the way. The key is to do something. The key is to have something. I think the only mistake is really not being ready at all. Because then you just might be caught in a way that you don't want to be caught. And I hear those calls on the phone, or on Zoom, and they're painful to listen to, and they're painful to see people going through that pain. And while some of it may be, unavoidable, I think some of it is avoidable, and that's the part that I want to talk about and have you address. So if you think you want to take care of that over the next few weeks, while maybe you have some downtime from work, I have my Get Hired DIY package. There's a link there down below. You can always DM me, reach out to me if you wanted to look into hiring us for the new year. Outside of that, the key is to do the steps yourself at the absolute minimum that I mentioned earlier, to just make sure things are ready and you're ready to go and you have a plan. Because honestly, having a plan is really the only way to weather the ups and downs that are in the marketplace. The predictions, they give you a false sense of security if you believe them, and they put you into bigger place of fear if you don't believe them. Either way is uncomfortable. either short-term uncomfortable, immediate uncomfortable, or long-term uncomfortable when they turn out to not go your way. So just take care of yourself. That to me is the theme for 2023, is just take care of yourself. So with that being said, if you like this video, I'm going to ask you to like it. If you know someone who can benefit from this video, I'm going to ask you to share it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you do not miss next week's video. And if you have a question or a comment, you can always reach out to me. You can either DM me or comment below. I do my best to reach out to every comment, every DM, every email. I do my best to reply to each one. So I hope you have a great new year. I hope you have a great new year and a great holiday season. And thank you so much for watching this entire year, if you've been around that long, or for just joining us. And I look forward to us journeying together in the next year. Take good care.